let's hope other people can. So welcome to Wychwood TV. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Alan Kennedy and I'm a business coach locally. And we just thought it would be good amongst the moderators of the Wychwood Post to open up and make use of Facebook Live and YouTube to extend the purposes of the Wychwood Post, which is to inform, to bring news about the village and occasionally to entertain. Okay, we don't know which one of those it's going to be tonight, but we are incredibly grateful to have Amanda, who you will see down the bottom right of my screen, Nina Brown and Katrina Darker, who are doctors at the Wychwood Surgery. Now I'm just going to try and bring up my script. Okay, Nina and Katrina, before we start, and I don't know if you heard the clap this evening, but apparently in some places in England it was really loud for Captain Tom. We also think the doctors locally are just amazing. We don't know how you've coped, how you're still smiling. It's been refreshing hearing the jokes via the emails as you came onto this meeting. And so we just collectively like to say thank you so much. My brother's a doctor, so I'm sympathetic to the breed, and I know how difficult the job can be sometimes, but the vast majority of people we've spoken to are just amazingly grateful for what you've done, and also the key workers, so the workers in the schools and the shops. It's just been British citizenship at its very best. So thank you. So if you go away from nothing else this evening, just remember we love you to bits. Okay, right. So I thought we'd start off with just a sort of open question. How's the last year been for you?
Rina?
Well, I think challenging is probably the word that sums it up best, but I think it's been like that for everyone, hasn't it? We've had to change completely the way we work at Wychwood. You know, we've always been a drop-in surgery and had very easy access, and suddenly we've had to move to complete telephone triage and doing most of our consulting by phone. And I think it's been difficult for us as doctors because we like seeing our patients, but I know it's been really hard for our patients as well. And so we're very grateful to how everyone has adapted. So thank you very much to all of our patients.
Right, okay, so hear that, patients, that's a pat on the back, and we promise collectively of a group to be well behaved in future, and we're just going to get one or two hints this evening about what well behaved patients look like. Nina, have you got any comments? How have you found the last year?
Yeah, I think the same. I mean, we're very, I think we're lucky in lots of ways. We're lucky to be part of the Wychwoods because it's, you know, one of the places left in the world that's still got old-fashioned community values and people look after themselves, so that helps. We have a fabulous team, so I'm a very, very big believer that resilience isn't about individuals, it's about us as a team, and we have the greatest team, so that's made it, you know, easier than it might have been. I guess, you know, daft things, I mean, it's like if you see me fidgeting, part of that is because, you know, we just don't sit down at work anymore. So Katrina and I, after discovering what bad backache sitting still for 4 hours gave us, because this isn't a sitting down job. You know, we trot up and down the passage to our patients, we get up and down to examine them. So the very first day of phone calls and 4 hours in of not having moved, and you try to move and you sort of, it's like, oh, can't move. So we invested in some standing desks, we stand, so that's a change.
Okay, well done.
And yeah, I think, yeah, as I say, I think it's a really big thank you to everyone out there to adapting with us, because, you know, none of us knew what it was going to be like, and we all had to muddle through together.
Yeah, no, we did indeed. Just if you're interested, we know some really good yoga teachers in the village, so we can get the whole of the Wychwood Surgery doing yoga. That would be really cool, wouldn't it? So send me a private message if you want, and we will get the yoga teachers out. I'm hoping we're going to have interviews with yoga teachers later, and back specialists and everything else that's really hit us. Amanda, I'm seeing a number of people join, trying to join Wychwood Post. If you could stick a quick message on the post saying if you want to join the live video, then just join and answer the question and it will let you straight in. Okay, lovely, that's brilliant. Okay, well, wow, that is amazing. Well done for doing so well. That's what I would say, that you're still smiling. That's really good. We've heard a lot about the tough times. I mean, I know two people who've died in West Oxfordshire. Not people I know personally, but a friend of mine was in intensive care for 3 weeks. That must have been really tough for you, but were there any lighter moments?
Nina?
I think there's always lighter moments at the Wychwood surgery.
Come on then.
I mean, again, well, life would be, very, very sad if we didn't have a giggle. So, I mean, what sort of, we so appreciated the cake that got sent in to us to keep our spirits up.
Yeah.
I mean, our bellies probably got bigger, but our spirits got higher.
Yeah.
I guess when I was asking around the surgery, I mean, one of the things that reception did actually say to me was they thought it was absolutely hilarious when we started doing 10 minutes exercise outside in the garden every morning.
Oh, brilliant.
And they loved looking out the window and laughing at us as we flung ourselves around.
Yeah.
We've had fun with, photos was something we never used to have. So people will text us a photo, and I don't think anyone ever appreciates that what looks in focus on a phone isn't in focus when it's blown up on a computer screen. So we've had many.
I'm so sorry that my eyes were out of focus when you. I can't remember which doctor it was.
Yeah. We've had many where we actually call each other in and go, what body part do you think this is? I mean, I had a lovely one where it was beautiful. I had a lovely focused photo of somebody's carpet, but what on earth they were trying to show me on there, I still have no idea.
Right. Lovely. Okay, so Wychwood Villages, if you get one message from today, it's make sure your camera's focused. Katrina, what about you? Have you had any lighter moments?
I think just what Nina was saying, really. I think we've really bonded as a team. I think we've always been a great team. It's one of the things I've loved about Wychwood and I've loved about working there. But somehow it's just brought us all a little bit closer together. And that's been lovely, really.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So who was worst at the exercises in the morning?
Reese.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so, we don't even need to think about that.
So Reese, if you're listening, I sympathise. I'm a 64-year-old, slightly overweight gentleman, and it's tough doing exercise. Back, yoga. There's 2 of us go to the yoga class, and we grunt and we groan, and we have to turn our volume off when we do it live, because why? It just disturbs everyone else, and we end up getting the speaker slot with fat, overweight men. So Reese, you have our utmost sympathy, and please do persevere. Right.
No, he doesn't deserve it. He's younger than both of us, so we're not going to cut him any slack at all.
Reese, I've read the anti-bullying websites, and I know that those who are good at their job sometimes get the most good. So just keep persevering. So Reese, we love you to bits. Amanda, you had a question.
Yes. The question that everybody would like to know is, how are you getting on with the vaccine at the moment?
Trina.
I think we're getting on well. So we were off to a flying start. We were, one of the first centres to get going. So that was fantastic. The team really pulled together there. We were working with 5 other practices or 4 other practices in the area. So we did absolutely brilliantly, and we almost got a bit too good and a bit too far ahead, and then they stopped our deliveries and redistributed them. So we were sort of twiddling our thumbs a little bit in the last few weeks, just getting the odd bit of vaccine here and there. But we are now expecting some fairly big deliveries next week, and we're hoping to get through and have completed up to group 4 by the end of next week. So that will be good.
That's really good. I'm sorry, I've just had a message saying can't get on. Is there a problem? Amanda, are you seeing everything on Wychwood TV?
I'm trying at the moment, yeah. I'm just putting the post in. What actually can't they get on to?
Well, it's a question of whether we are seeing it on Wychwood TV. We are recording it if you're listening to
Yeah, I'm watching it on Wychwood TV.
Right, okay.
And there's people watching, there's people commenting.
Right, okay, that's wonderful. Now, for those, Dr. Darker, you've actually got COVID, haven't you, at the moment? So
Yeah.
How are you coping with it?
Well, I'm feeling okay now. It was a bit rough at the start, but yeah, definitely on the mend. So just having to complete my self-isolation now.
Yeah, right. Okay.
A few more days.
And how does the team cope when there's a doctor off sick? What do you do? Because you've got limited doctors, haven't you? It's like in the school when they lose a teacher, it must be really tough for them. Nina?
Well, we can actually, so if we're feeling, so I had a week on house arrest over Christmas because we had COVID in our house. I didn't have it, but my son and my husband both got it.
Yeah.
So I was locked in the house for 10 days, much to my disgust. And we can network in to the computer here, so we can work from home as if we were here, all bar seeing people. So everything else we can still get on and do it.
Yes. Right.
I have to say, my kitchen and my, it's rubbish being stuck at home.
It depends on how you get on with your wife, doesn't it, really? Or husband, or yes.
Or homeschooling.
Oh, homeschooling. So are you homeschooling at the same time as being a doctor working silly hours? And oh, that is so good. I don't know if you've seen my picture of Debbie, where Debbie is age 31 and she looks like she's age 76 because she's been homeschooling for 4 hours. Have you seen that particular one? So anyway, I'll share my picture with Debbie before we finish. So if you're homeschooling out there and you look like Debbie, trust me, we do sympathise. Okay, right. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here, both by questions flying in and losing my crib sheet of all the questions.
Going back to just the vaccine question, actually,
yeah.
If I could just say a huge thank you as well. I know there's been lots of volunteers from the village helping up at the clinics as well, and we couldn't do it without you all, so thank you very much.
Good, excellent. Have you had, because we hear stories of lots of phone calls saying, when's my vaccine going to happen? Have you had many of those?
A lot, every day.
Right.
And I mean, some of it is, we understand. I mean, everybody's worried. Everybody wants to make sure that they've not fallen down a hole or, somehow been forgotten.
Yeah.
Nobody is. So either, well, one, we've got a huge handle on, we now know the whereabouts of just about everybody. So I know who's abroad, we know who's in hospital, we have a handle on it.
Okay.
As fast as anything changes, then they're going to be on, they're on the list if they reappear here in the Wychwoods. I think one of the frustrating things is obviously there's lots of, well, my neighbour's 76 and they've had it. The difficulty is they don't deliver the number to match the number who need it. Yeah. So there's obviously always going to be an element of, we've invited, if we've got 300 to invite and we've invited 200, there's still 100 waiting. Yes. And it's just a random picking list. It's not, we just have to work our way through. But we are working hard and fast. If they will provide us with the vaccines, we will throw the hours at it to deliver it.
Okay, that's really
basically, the advice to her, if you just please sit tight, honestly, we will be with you. You'll either get a text and you can just book electronically, or if you don't pick that text up, the system tells us, so we know. So we'll call you. And if you haven't got a mobile phone, we know we'll call you. Okay. So, we will make sure.
Right, that is amazing. So if I was aged over 70 and all the 70-year-olds had been done, should I then phone you up, or do I assume that I should never phone you?
It would be very unlikely that there would be one left, or if they are, it's for a reason. So as I say, they're actually not here.
Yes.
So because honestly, there's lists left, right and centre. So as long as you're registered with the surgery and you fall into the category, you will be invited. The only thing that might go wrong is if you've changed your phone number and not told us.
Okay, so phone calls should be very much the exception to the rule, is what we're saying. So yes, so
please, mainly because I mean, again, if you think we've gone from running an open surgery where everybody walked in and our girls didn't have that many phone calls to deal with, and they had plenty to deal with. Now every single patient contact is coming via reception.
Yeah.
So they're already dealing with a way higher workload than previously. Yes. And the trouble, again, the answer to everyone is always, honestly, you are on the list, you will be invited. And we're desperate to get everybody done.
Yes.
We are chomping at the bit.
Okay.
So, you know, as I say, as fast as they deliver the vaccines, we will be, you know, we'll be up there and we'll be helping roll them out.
Okay, lovely. So, Wychwoods, are you hearing this? Don't phone. Okay, I'll repeat it louder and slower. Don't phone. Okay, lovely. Unless you've had
Just
a heart attack,
please
cancer.
phone us about everything else you need
Yes,
to phone us
yes.
about. And
Okay.
don't, again, you know, it's a really important message that, you know, we are here, we're doing the job, everything is going on. So, you know, whatever you would have normally called us about or got in touch with us about, please get in touch with us.
Yes.
Just please don't ask about the vaccine.
Okay, lovely. Amanda, do you want to go next?
I'll just mention some of the comments that have come through so far. John Miskin says, fantastic job done to all at the surgery. And we've also got one of our other admins adding people in so that they're being added to the group if they want to look and watch now. Lynn Westnidge says that she's got her vaccine booked and she's in group 4. So she's very pleased with that.
Yeah.
We've got Sevia watching, Katie Hickman, Leanne Hopkins, lots of people. Melissa says, has Dr. Darker had her vaccine?
Yeah, I have. I realise I'm not a very good advert for the vaccine at the moment. Every single member of our staff has been vaccinated. I was vaccinated just before Christmas. So far, I'm sort of anxiously waiting to see whether anyone in my family will catch COVID, because we do at least know that the vaccine cuts transmission rates from those that have COVID to others. So everyone's okay so far. So I'm hoping that at least my vaccine will protect them, if nothing else.
Right.
And, you know, I could have been worse. You know, we all know people have been really seriously affected by this, and I feel like I've got off relatively lightly. So fingers crossed.
Right. Keep going, Amanda.
Okay. Yes, lots and lots of people watching. I don't think we've got any particular questions that have come up since then. Oh, do you know when the vaccines that were cancelled will happen, the second dose? Kim Jowett has asked.
So what we've been told, and again, you know, I think this is where sometimes the phone calls get a bit challenging because there's an element of shooting the messengers. We have absolutely no control, none at all. It's all coming from above. But what we have been told is they're planning on as we hit 11 weeks from first doses, they're going to send out the matching number of vaccines so that we can then roll on, and that gives us that week to get them done. So that's our hope.
Yeah.
We'll wait with bated breath.
Okay, right. And any more, Amanda, or should we go back to?
I'll just flick through just to see. Nothing at the moment. I can look to see my next question. We are hoping to get Robert Courts in to come to the Wychwood TV interview. Is there a question that you would like to ask him?
Or the government, if you don't want to be rude about Robert. Actually, I've met him. He's a lovely guy. He's really doing his best. Being an MP is a really difficult job. Robert, if you're listening, we love you to bits. Okay.
Like, I suppose, as with most health conditions, you know, COVID is very, so yeah, other than age, which clearly is something we have no control over, there are other risk factors which living a healthier lifestyle can help protect us. So I guess, you know, what steps is he, the local authority, taking? I mean, yeah, I had a holiday a couple of years ago cycling in the Netherlands. You know, you go cycle in the Netherlands, you feel safe. If I go out on my bike around here, country roads, don't feel safe. You know, we need, you know, what steps are being taken to make eating healthily easy, to make taking exercise easy. The more steps that are put in the way to make it trickier, the less we're going to do it. So, you know, I guess that would be it. What is he leading on? What is he doing to make it easier for all of us to live well?
That's a very good question. Katrina, is there anything you would say to Robert Courts?
Or Boris?
Might have a few private questions for Boris, but
okay. None that are repeatable. Okay.
None that are repeatable. No.
Okay. Lovely.
Definitely not to be recorded and played back.
Okay, that's fine. It's all journalistic comment, so therefore it's covered by the libel. You can't be sued for libel, so that's good. Or slander even. Okay.
There's a couple more questions come in. If you'd like to ask those.
Yes.
One is they're both similar actually. One says, have you been using the Pfizer vaccine? And somebody else has asked, which one are you using, and do you get told which one that you're receiving?
We're using both. So we started off with Pfizer, and then the AstraZeneca one came along, and it seems very much you get delivered what you get delivered. The vaccine is there on the day. We often don't know which one we're going to be giving when we go to the clinic. So no, you don't get a choice, really.
And I think it's like anything. The trouble is, I think there's too many urban myths bubbling up. You know, personally, I would have either. It's, you know, offer me a vaccine, I'm having it, thank you. The evidence for both of them, the safety evidence is all rock solid. The efficacy, you know, the studies show as they work, and we're going to find out more as they're, you know, rolled out over time, and we see what happens to the population. But yeah, you know, hand on heart, you know, go have it, whatever it is. They actually work in a very, very similar way. They just achieve it in a slightly different way, but they both work. What they actually result in doing is very, very similar. And as I say, I think there's just a few too many myths out there. They're very safe vaccines. They've undergone all the testing they should have gone. And well, as Katrina said, we don't have a staff member who hasn't had at least their first vaccination.
Yeah, very good. I've lost my crib sheet. Okay.
Another one that's come through. Have you any idea when the vaccines for group 5 and 6, etc., will happen?
After group 4. So the hope very much is that we will all, because the trouble again is we have to get through all of it as a network. So we are, as a network, we're looking after 40,000 patients. So eventually we're supposed to vaccinate everyone down to the age of 18, and I have no idea what those numbers are, but they're going to be significant. We really are hoping that if the deliveries come next week as planned, to be through group 4, which means after that we'll be on to group 5. But again, what we don't know is when they'll next deliver. It is astonishingly ad hoc. So we're sort of on a promise for so many. But until they actually then phone up and say they are on their way, they've left, you can't book any. You know, it's literally, we'll literally get 2 or 3 days notice.
Wow.
So you have to then conjure up enough staff to go and cover all of that, which, I mean, again, the numbers for that are vast, including all the volunteers who, you know, are fantastic. Equally, you know, everybody who's going and running those clinics are also, they're doing the day job. And so they're doing all of these clinics on top of doing, and that includes, you know, our team has been absolutely fantastic. I think, I mean, all the surgeries have mucked in, but, you know, I'm going to have to sort of stick my head up there and go, but our team are the greatest. So, you know, we're the smallest surgery in the network, and the proportion of volunteering, our receptionists, our nurses, our doctors, I don't think there's a staff member who could have been up there who hasn't been up there. They have all, they're brilliant. Honestly, they are. I'm so proud to be part of this team. They really are fantastic. And each and every one of them has sort of said, you know, I mean, if it's not going to happen, but if they stopped the central delivery, if they gave us the vaccine, everyone sort of said, you know, if we had to stay here till 11 o'clock every night and come in we would do it. And they would, because that is how fantastic they are. Wow. So yeah, I'm really proud of them.
That is amazing. Difficult question. What would you say to those who are frightened of being vaccinated, whether it's COVID deniers, whether it's vaccine hoaxers or whatever they're called, or whether it's just people who don't like the idea of a dead arm?
Don't be frightened.
No, I mean, you know, it's about protecting yourself, but actually it's about protecting others as well. It's about protecting your loved ones and those that are clinically vulnerable in our community, and of course protecting the NHS as well. And really, for the sake of a sore arm, which is all I had anyway for a day, it really is worth it. You know, you, as I said before, you massively reduce the risk of transmitting COVID to others, even if you do catch it. And hopefully once you've had your 2 vaccines anyway, you'll be much less likely to catch it. And you massively reduce the risk of ever needing to go into hospital. And that evidence is all coming through quite clearly now. So don't be frightened. Just do it for the sake of yourself and all those around you.
Yeah. So it would be nice to get that to the point where my grandkids could give me a hug. That would be really cool. So, yeah, okay. Amanda, have you got?
We have somebody who's concerned about carrying an EpiPen and having their vaccine.
There's a very, very small number of people who might need to be vaccinated in a hospital setting. There's very, very few people who wouldn't be able to have it. Most EpiPen carriers, it's a very specific allergy. So it'll be something like, you know, I am allergic to bees or I am allergic to wasps. There are no wasps or bees in either vaccine. In fact, thankfully, there's none around at this time of the year. Although there was some talk of allergic reactions with the Pfizer one initially, again, the more it's been rolled out, the more it's been seen that there are no more allergic reactions to it than there are to any other vaccine. So, I mean, again, you know, unless you're having vaccine reactions and there's a crossover between the specific ingredients in a vaccine you've previously reacted to and these, there isn't really an issue. So, you know, again, there has yet to be a vaccine developed where the risk of the vaccine is going to be greater than the risk of the illness. You know, and again, it's, as Katrina was saying, it's, vaccination's a funny thing. I mean, we kind of do it because, you know, each and every one of us, it's protecting ourselves, but vaccination is actually all about protecting the community. You know, I don't have a flu vaccine every year for me. I have it because I don't want to pass the flu on to my patients, to my colleagues, to, you know, it's all about protecting the people around you and, you know, getting your community safe. And we're only going to do that if we all muck in and get it done.
I'm conscious time is flying. It has been the most amazing experience, just and humbling, actually, very humbling to hear you speak. We could either stop shortly or we could carry on taking questions. Do you have a preference? Because I'm conscious that you're under enormous work pressure. Yeah, we probably need a code here. If you say, I'm feeling a bit tired, it's been a long day, then we'll stop very shortly. If you say, this is really interesting, then we'll stop in about 10 minutes. So what's your gut feel, Dr. Brown?
I think if there's, I mean, again, I'm okay. Are you okay, Katrina? Because you're
I'm okay, yeah. Hopefully
okay.
Not annoying too many people with coffee.
Okay, we'll keep going for...
If there's questions out there, we're happy to answer them.
Yeah, we'll keep going for another 10 minutes and then if we don't know what the response within Wychwood TV will be and the post. What we'll do, if you're listening to it, we're recording this, and assuming I can get the technology to work, we will upload it into the Wychwood TV YouTube channel and then copy that to the Wychwood Post so it can be shown to all 2,000 members of the Wychwood Post. We probably won't do that with every Wychwood TV video, but this one is particularly relevant to the community. So anyway, let's carry on. And then, so Amanda, have you got more questions? Otherwise I'm going to be accused of witchering.
We have lots more thanks, including Jenny Evanson, thanking the whole team. Somebody has asked a question regarding the vaccine, but I think we answered that earlier about it says, does the vaccine help reduce the severity of COVID? Which we've said yes. So you can watch it back and see what we said about that earlier. And more thanks from Jacqueline Birch. I don't think there's a particular question at the moment. Let me see. Oh, here's one. I've read the Pfizer vaccine is 90% effective and the Oxford only 70%. Is this correct? is the Oxford one less effective?
I think the researchers have used different endpoints, so I think it's actually really, really hard to compare the data from one and the other. I mean, out of the Oxford trial, I mean, again, when they looked at the numbers of people who still caught coronavirus post-vaccination, there wasn't a single hospitalisation. So again, I think a lot of it depends on how you define effectiveness. We know that there is still, you know, people will still catch it whilst it's still around. So even having been vaccinated. But I think the biggest thing is that the numbers are hard to compare. I mean, I would personally, I'd have faith in either. It turns out, I'm in the Oxford vaccine trial. So it turns out, I didn't know because I have no idea what I've been vaccinated with. But it turns out I had the AstraZeneca vaccine back in June and August. It's clearly been put to the test because I had to live with my son and my husband whilst they decided to have coronavirus. I didn't get it. So, you know, on my study of one, I would say that the AstraZeneca is currently 100% effective for me. But yeah, I think the difficulty is they're very, very different data sets. So you can't actually, so this is the trouble when the newspapers bandy this stuff about is it's not as simple as it looks. I'd have either.
Me too.
We've had a question from Heidi Druitt saying, if Dr. Darker has a vaccine and has COVID, does the vaccine help to reduce the severity of COVID? I think the fact you're here answers that question, that you're not in bed. So yes, so we thought yesterday that Dr. Darker wouldn't be able to make it, but we're just so pleased she has, so that's good. Any other questions, Amanda?
I'm just skimming through now to see if I've missed anything. No. Are there any more questions? Those of you are watching, have them now if you have something in mind.
Yes, do send them through if you've got them. So we've got two more questions on our list here. And then a slightly lighter note, because I think we ought to finish on a slightly lighter note. Although we are going to give you a chance to show your thanks to the hospital surgery later on. If you had a magic wand, what three things vis-a-vis COVID, or indeed anything else, would you wish for?
Go away.
Right. So you're not getting a kick out of being desperately overworked?
No, it would be. We were talking earlier, weren't we? And you know, one of the things. Well, because I'm putting words in your mouth now, Katrina. But you know, Katrina sort of said, you know, it's like it would be so nice to hug people again. It'd just be nice for it all to go away. I think perhaps if we can try and all hold on to that little readjustment of priorities that has gone on. You know, I think an experience like this does, at least for a time, remind us of what matters. I mean, I think maybe some of the things Katrina was talking about us getting even closer as a team is, I think, you know, this kind of thing really does show you that actually it's the people around you that matter, much more so than, you know, have I got the latest fashion or swapped my car or been to the latest film, or, you know, there's much more important things in the world than that.
Yeah. Katrina, 3 wishes.
Oh, I only need one. I only need COVID to go away. That's the only one I want. I suppose, you know, perhaps sort of getting my doctor bit in, but, you know, the people that do badly with COVID are, age aside, are those that are perhaps overweight or obese or have diabetes or high blood pressure, things like that. And so, you know, we see how important lifestyle choices are. So I know lots of people have done a lot more exercise. They've had more time to do exercise. So keep going with that. It's just so important. So yeah, I'd love to see kind of people taking their health and their fitness more seriously.
You organised the Chipping Norton Park Run, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
We're desperate to get that going again as well.
Yeah. So what's your park run time, and how fast do you do park running?
Well, I'm normally there organising, but our Chippy course is quite tricky because it's a bit undulating. It's not a fast course. I've I think
Yeah.
I did it in 25 minutes.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. That's about 4 minutes faster than me. So good. Yes. I don't know if you know, but Witney Park Run is the best in the world in terms of numbers competing in the park run, largely down to one man called Martin Crabbe, who we go under the slogan of "Make Crabby Happy." So you need a similar slogan in Chipping Norton Park Run, is to make Crabby happy.
That's a fun park run, especially the little wooded area.
Yes. Yeah, so indeed, so yeah, no, look, I started running again. I started losing weight. I went on the Herbalife diet, and I'm hoping we'll get Lynn Westnage on later to talk about that a bit. And it's been really good for me. Also, my wife's done Slimming World diets, and that's been really good for her. So I would echo that advice. If you can lose weight and get fit, that's probably in the longer term a bigger health risk than COVID-19, or at least we hope it is. Okay.
We're so lucky as well, because we've got, you know, where else? We've got lovely countryside. You can go for lovely walks. You know,
okay.
We haven't got an excuse not to. It's lovely around here.
Clearly, you've never had to run up the mountains around Shipton and Shipton under Wychwood.
I grew up in Snowdonia. These are not mountains.
Right. Okay. Lovely. Amanda, any more comments on the text?
Our admin, Kim, has said we've got 47 people watching live at the moment.
Brilliant.
So well done, everybody. And then we have a question saying, have the Wychwoods got off lightly as far as COVID is concerned?
Yes. So far.
Yes, so far. It does say so far in the question, Fully, I think. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
I think that's partly that we don't have a university in our village, do we? That helps. And partly that we have been actually pretty well behaved. I remember early on we posted something about how orderly the queues were outside the co-op. And that's why I don't know what's life been like in the school, Amanda. You probably know better than I have.
Yeah, they've done really well at Burford School now, and the way that they've got them split up at the primary school as well is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
so really minimising the risks all around.
Yeah, so if you're a school teacher listening, thank you. Okay, right, should we do one last question and then we'll bring it to a close? Finally, when it's all over and lockdown is lifted, what's the best idea that the Wychwood Surgery team has come up with to celebrate?
We're going to have a giant group hug, aren't we, Nina?
That is so amazing. That is so amazing. Okay, so Wychwoods, we would like you to do two things. One is we will post it in Wychwood TV, and we will also post it in the Wychwood Post. If you appreciate what the local surgery has done for you, and bearing in mind they came top of the survey for client care in 2019, and I can see why. I've been a patient of theirs for 5 years, and seeing them tonight, we can see why you've come top. And any organization reflects, I know I do a lot of business consulting, it reflects the leadership, and it's very clear why you have such a good team. It's just seeing from the outside. So Wychwood, would you please do two things? One, don't phone to say when my COVID injection is due. When is my COVID injection due? And the other is put a heart underneath the post to say how much you appreciate the Wychwood Surgery. Okay, that's it from us. Thank you so much. Amanda, should we give them a round of applause? So very good. And hopefully you'll come back on again when it's all over, or maybe in between, and just tell us how you've got on since with vaccinations and everything like that. Okay, is that all right? Okay, goodbye then to everyone. So what is it? It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from them. Okay, so bye. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Okay, right. I'm going to close it down now, and then I'm going to go trimming wherever we trim. I dread to think what we produced on the Wychwood. If I can get my mouse to work and come off the second screen. Okay, here we go. Goodbye then, peeps. Goodbye, Wychwoods. Thank you for turning up. No, end. Yes, end.